Hello. Today is Thursday, the 31st of July in the year 2025. It is also the 48th day of summer, counting from the solstice. It is the 8th day of the moon. We are now in the first quarter, waxing. Now, perhaps you wonder, what's with all those dates and numbers? Well, it started for me about 30 years ago when I wanted to make up a new calendar to write my diary with, whether it be video, which I was starting to use back then, or just writing, which I still do. And I decided to have the 4 seasons of the year be the 4 big parts of the year: winter, spring, summer, autumn, and then, as you know, winter, spring, summer, autumn, over and over. And there's about 90 days, more or less, in each of those seasons. And they add up to a little over 365 days. So I did. I made up a calendar back in the year 1996 when I was the volunteer host with the city of San Diego. Actually, I was a volunteer with the police department, and I was the host of the free speech site. My duties were to have each group that came to the official city stage of free speech sign in and then have their show and their protest and their demonstration and their speeches. Sometimes people sang, and sometimes people played drums, sometimes people dressed up in costumes. But that was the same time when I decided to invent my calendar. I was writing a diary about that experience, and I wrote a little over half of it before I gave up. It was 5 days long, and I wrote about 3 days worth. And I made up the calendar back then. And I decided, after a lot of thought, I decided that I would start the calendar with modern history, very important modern history. And for the one event to mark our history the way it now is, I chose the space age. I decided to start the calendar on October 7th, or was it the 3rd? Yeah, the day that Sputnik was launched. And that little rocket sent a satellite up into orbit around the Earth for the first time that we knew about. But it did it on that day, and that became day 1 of the new calendar I would use from then on. And that's what I'm using right now. Still in, 68 years later. In the summer in the first quarter of the moon. Okay, that's all I had to say today. It's probably awful hot where you are, so I hope you can get through the heat of the day and have a chance to get some cool air and moisture to help you feel refreshed and keep you alive. I'll see you soon. It's warm here, but it's better inside. I have left the window open because the breeze is coming and it doesn't feel so hot out there as it did yesterday. Okay, that's all for now. Goodbye.
Today, a new moon is in the sky, a 23-inch metal sphere placed in orbit by a Russian rocket. Here, an artist's conception of how the feat was accomplished. A three-stage rocket. Number one, the booster in the class of an intercontinental missile. Its weight estimated at 50 tons. The smaller second stage took over at 5,000 miles an hour and carried on to the highest point reached. 500 miles up, the artificial moon is boosted to a speed counterbalancing the pull of gravity and released. You are hearing the actual signals transmitted by the Earth-circling satellite, one of the great scientific feats of the age.